Welcome to my first episode of Sideline Sister Sundays with Nadine for 2020. It is good to be back in the saddle, and we are starting the year off with a banger of a conversation regarding a very, very big transit that has forming a conjunction today, in fact, the 12th of January 2020, and that is Saturn and Pluto are conjunct in Capricorn, along with a few other planets in Capricorn, but these two are conjunct. Okay, that means they are next to each other, but that is just on the graph as we plotted on the chart. Obviously, up in the sky, they are nowhere near each other. Let's just make sure everybody knows that. Okay. All right, so if you are on Facebook, Instagram, you would have seen by now many articles about this transit, as well as quite a lot of fear around it and maybe a bit of doom and gloom. So I really want to just, first of all, set your mind at ease that it's not doom and gloom. Okay, we can look at this as a new beginning. Yes, it's potentially going to be very rough for some people. Other people will not be as affected, but globally we are all being affected. And then before I even go into the conversation about this particular transit, we have other transits also at play that are huge. And so really, I really can say that we are living in interesting times. As a kid, I often used to hear people say that and think, well, what does that even mean? But I can really say now we are living in interesting times. This Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn has been spoken about for decades, for even hundreds of years. It's really seen as a very big deal. Okay, so before I go into this, I just want to remind you that Uranus is also in Taurus, so there's a hell of a lot of unexpected change coming. You know, even if you look at the kind of natural disasters, I've done an episode on that, I'm not going to go into that, but just bear in mind that big change, big unstoppable change. That's what I'm getting at. It's not the change that you can close a door on or decide you'll wait a month before you warm up to it. It is, it's here. Okay. So this conjunction happens every 38 years. The last 38 years ago, it was conjunct in Libra. The last time it has been conjunct in Capricorn was 500 years ago. And so what happened 500 years ago was we were seeing and having the whole Renaissance movement, which was really, you know, humanity moving out of the Middle Ages into modern society and modern life. So if that gives you an idea of how big it is, then perfect. It really is that big in a deal. Okay. So Saturn is our strict father. Okay, he is our restrictor, but I really actually hate that word, so I don't even want to use it anymore. He teaches us lessons. Okay, whatever he touches, he's just put a little bit of a cocoon around it, and you just have to open it, but inside is this wonderful reward. That's the beauty of Saturn. He's not trying to restrict you, you're not being punished, you haven't done anything wrong. But we always have to evolve and learn as humans and as a species, and that is where Saturn really plays a good role and really shines. Okay, and then Saturn also, I just want to put out there that Saturn rules Capricorn, and it is currently in Capricorn, along with, so there's basically a stellium in Capricorn at the moment. We've got the Sun, Mercury, Saturn, Pluto, the South Node, Jupiter, and Ceres, the comet, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of Capricorn energy, and it will be throughout the year. Jupiter will be stationed in Capricorn for the whole year, and the Saturn-Pluto conjunction will be for many years. Okay. So Pluto is total inner transformation. Pluto rules Scorpio. If you know any Scorpio people in your life, you will know that it is it's a very intense energy. It really is a very intense energy. Our Scorpios are really catalysts for other people. They just create without even meaning to most of the time, situations where people have to relook how they are, who they are. Very Plutonic placements, some of them can cause very tumultuous relationships. It really, these two planets would be known as our more difficult planets to move through and to have aspecting us. Okay. So that's why it's a banger, and you will know about it. It's not like Jupiter, which is lovely and wants to reward you, and it's always in a good mood, and it's beautiful, and it expands, you know. But in saying that, Jupiter also can expand, obviously, the bad. Right, but we're not speaking about Jupiter. Okay. The first thing I want to say to you is just please don't be afraid. Please don't be afraid. The doom and gloom, the scary articles, not all of them are scary, but I have read some articles which, if I didn't know what I know, would really have freaked me out quite tremendously. Okay, so I want to try and put it into perspective in just an easy, quick way. I'm not going to try and bombard you with how much energy is going on and all these, you know, fancy potential words. I'm going to try and just lay it out so that you can get it, process it, and be aware of it, because you need to be aware of it. Okay. So when Pluto comes into play, and I say when I say he blows things out of the water, it's not it's things that you don't want seen. It's things that you stick under your bed, or it's that drawer in your kitchen or the drawer in your house that's just always a complete mess. It's like where everything goes in. Every single household has one of those drawers. Okay. And when it comes to actually taking that drawer out and sorting it out, it's a mission and you don't want to. And well, but once you've done that, you find that you throw 3/4 of the stuff out because you don't need it anymore. And once you put that drawer back into the cabinet, it feels great. It's been sorted, it's been neatened, now there's space for more things to go in. Hopefully not crap. But that is kind of what's happening here. So we are really not even being asked to, we are being forced to step out of our comfort zone. Last year and the year before, we had quite strong Jupiter placements, which were asking of us to really look inwards. What are your values? That's what Jupiter rules. Spirituality, philosophy, learning, travel, all those beautiful things that we learn from as we're doing it. So we were really asked to go into contemplation. What are my real values? You know, perhaps as a child you grew up as a Methodist, you know, left school and never really thought about it again. But now you can't. You can't just carry on regardless. You are asked, what do you believe in? Who do you believe in? Why do you believe in that? How does it fit into your life? How can you make it fit into your life? Okay, because as human beings, we have to believe. Even what do you call them? People that don't believe in religion, atheists. Even atheists believe. They believe that there's nothing, but it's a belief, right? We have to have beliefs. That's human nature. That's how we're woven. So when you're on top of that, right? This is who I am. This is what I believe. I'm comfortable with this. I'm moving forward. Now we've progressed into Capricorn, and it is a chronological progression. So now what we're asked to do is we're asked to create real things with this, bring it into the world, make something tangible, work it, make a plan, work that plan. You will really see in the next few years, in the next decade, a lot more of my type of people coming into play, astrologers, you know, anything in that sort of line, that metaphysical line of work, because firstly, we really can't hide behind the covers anymore. Can't tell people we do other things. And people need this. People need this, just talking about what is really going on, without those pretenses of what you think I should be, or how much money you think I should make, or really what I should say. We're just asked to be as authentic as we possibly can be. And many of us, myself included, I ran away. I mean, I can't say I ran away, but if I really look at it, it would actually be considered running away from my authenticity. You know, I came back to my childhood home a decade ago, and really, for some reason, convinced myself that I had to be normal. And now normal just doesn't work. You you know, I can't fit into those boxes anymore. And the more I try and do that, the more it doesn't work. And that is really what's happening now. We are now building new foundations. We are stepping away from our comfort zone. We're getting out of the slump, is maybe a good way to say it. You know, that real, you know, often we have that feeling, oh, I don't like my job, but I need to pay the bills, my children must go to school. So we just keep on. And at the end of the day, we're getting tired and more tired and more tired. And we're feeling lifeless and soulless and really questioning what is it all about and exhausted, right? So we cannot do that anymore. Now is the time to live, to really live. Now is not the time to be complacent and to sit back and let other people sort out or let other people change things. This is really the time that we step up to the plate, change our lives the way we want it to be. You know, Capricorn is quite a traditional energy. It's work hard, it's discipline, it's have your goals in order. It's people with strong Capricorn or Saturn placements can often be workaholics. Okay, so that's fine, but within that, and also with Uranus and Taurus, now it becomes, well, okay, we can still be disciplined in this framework, but this framework doesn't have to be a box now. It can be a triangle. It can be a huge circle. It can be, you can be maybe have your goal for 5 months and then reassess where you might have normally been setting goals for a year. I'm just trying to give you examples of, so you don't have to, that's the beauty of what we're in now. We don't have to do anything anymore. We can do and be whoever we want to be, as long as we are not harming anyone. It's that beautiful old pagan saying, and he do what he will, but he harm none. That is really the most important thing. But is not to harm anybody, but also the most important thing is really to be who you are. Really. And another thing which I'm very glad as a society and humanity that we don't really prescribe to anymore is that whole, you know, you're too old to change now. Oh no, you can't change careers now. No, we don't live like that anymore. Okay. All right. So it is, so many people, so it is the ending of something. However, I really rather want you to look at it as the beginning of something and as the beginning of just a true kind of life. Please excuse my pets. So when Pluto comes into play in this kind of setup, it's exploring our deep, what people would call their shadows. It's really the time where we can't hide it from ourselves anymore, and we also can't hide it from the outside world. These things will come out now. If you are living unauthentically, those things are going to bite you soon. Okay. It's also the same thing. It's kind of, I'll give you an example, like when Pluto goes retrograde. That's often a time when things like affairs come to light. Obviously, people who are having affairs don't want that to come to light, but they do, because it's asking you to open that dark room and just let some light in for a change. Just clear it out. Just really clear it out, because when we're holding on to these things, we can't move forward. And sometimes we hold on to things that we could have let go 3 years ago already. And all of you know what that's like, and all of you have done that, myself included. Okay. So now we are freeing ourselves from our own imposed shackles. Yay. So we have to face our fears in order to grow. We have to be as honest as honest as we can. Really, we cannot mess around here anymore. If you find that you need to go to a counselor to help you with that, then do that. If you find that you're not able to go deep enough because you're scared or you don't want to, then go to somebody for help. Really, I really appeal to you, go to a counselor, go to your minister, whatever it is that you use to come to some kind of understanding of yourself. That's what you want to do, because now we want to win, right? And Saturn energy actually wants you to win, even though it's known as our restrictor. It wants you to break through that. It's not the monster in the corner who's never going to let you go. That's not it at all. Okay. So you'll feel a lot of intensified tension, this coming year, please be gentle with yourself. I have said it in previous videos about other transits. It's not always easy to be gentle with ourselves. It's also not easy to be gentle with other people. But that is really a responsibility that we absolutely must undertake if we want to change society, and we do, because we're all tired of how things have been working and the status quo. It cannot be this way anymore. And if you are a highly sensitive person, then do what you can to put into place healthy boundaries, to keep yourself grounded in whatever way that comes to light for you. If it is in prayer, or if it is literally doing a little grounding moment or ritual, or if it's wearing, tourmaline, or whatever it is for you, do that. Become self-aware. Become the most important person in your life. Because if you are not the most important person in your life, that's just not actually going to stand you in good stead. Not only are you going to be exhausted, but how can you possibly play into the world that you want to have? Okay, so please, let's just really try and decide to be as gentle to ourselves and to others as we can. Okay. So Pluto will also amplify what Saturn is doing, which is basically what it will cause is for us to separate what we don't need anymore from what we do need. So, I mean, just a quick example would be, if you're driving around with a boot full of things, maybe you're going to the beach often, you've got all sorts of scuba gear in the boot, but you haven't been to the beach for a year, and the stuff is still lying in your boot, and every time you do groceries, oh my gosh, there's no space in the boot. Just empty the boot. Okay, it's still the same car, it's just a better car. You can do more with it now. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Separate the stuff that doesn't work for you anymore. And if you can't decide what doesn't work for you anymore, bring in a friend or somebody that knows you well, or a spouse, and talk about it. See and decide together, what can you do? Okay. Because I really want to just bring forward to you again that if you don't, it's not going to be easy. If you have toothache and you don't go to the dentist, what happens? The toothache doesn't go away. It becomes worse and worse and worse, and eventually you get to the dentist in a terrible state, and you're lying there thinking, if only I'd come 4 months ago. Please don't let those things happen now. They will hurt you. Okay. New shifts. I mean, a new shifts to today's this energy is the beginning of a new shift, and really we should rejoice. We really, really should rejoice. Okay. It's also going to be cathartic. So as difficult as I say it will be for some of us, it's also going to be cathartic. Sometimes there's nothing better than just jumping into that deep, murky darkness that you thought you really should stay away from. Right, so let's talk about some of the things that we could do. First thing is, be very open to changes that are coming your way. Be very open. However, please don't just jump into things. Capricorn energy, and Saturn in particular, wants you to plan. It asks of you to make lists of what it is you want. And by lists, if you're a creative person and the thought of making a list just absolutely bores the living daylights out of you, then make a vision board. Whatever you need to do, put the things in front of you that you can see what it is that you want. Because we are going to be working hard. We are going to need determination and perseverance. And why I'm saying this is because you will be rewarded. Okay. For example, last year I started this channel, and there's been a period maybe of 2 months now that I haven't released an episode. This year I've got my plans in place for what I want to do with this channel, and if I work those plans, well then who knows, potentially I grow it and it becomes beautiful like my end vision. But if I don't, obviously nothing's going to happen, and nobody will ever hear these videos, and it will all have been for naught. So why put your energy into something that you know you want to have happen and then just let it fizzle out? Okay, so hard work, but good hard work, right? Enjoyable hard work. Is there such a thing? So what I've been saying to people is inspired discipline. And what I mean by that is, if you have a goal for the end of the year, perhaps you want to go to Thailand. Make your plans. Start them now already. Start saving. Look at where you're going to stay. Look at hotels. But if at some point in this year, suddenly China seems like a much better option, be open to that. So you are disciplined and you're working your plan, but you also having that inspired, you're listening, you're opening yourself to any other possibility. Maybe I shouldn't go to Thailand. Maybe you go to China and you get the best job you ever could, or you meet the love of your life, okay? Be open to that. It's very, very often that, myself included, this has happened to me as well. I really want something. I put all my energy into it. I'm going for it. And then at the end of the day, all these beautiful, inspired things come my way that will actually help me forward, and I don't even take it. Okay, so we can sometimes be too focused on our goal, and then we have the blinkers, and all these beautiful things are passing us by that would either help us or just change our course a little bit, because maybe we just didn't realize we could have that great a thing. So stay open to being inspired, but also stay disciplined, please. Now, the other thing that's important here is you are really being asked to force your energy on the things that don't serve you anymore. If you're in a bad marriage and you know you need to get out of it, but you've just been carrying on and carrying on and carrying on, force yourself to go there. Get out of the situation. How can you have inspired action if in your life you have got this big bag on your shoulders and it's weighing you down? Okay, please, please don't try and take shortcuts either. If a divorce is what needs to happen, do it properly, do it thoroughly, and move on. Okay, don't create things where I know this doesn't serve me anymore, so I'm getting rid of it. But then every 3 months you're still circling around here because you didn't actually get rid of it properly, or all of it. Okay. You may experience loss through this process. In fact, you will. Because when we realize things aren't serving us anymore, then we need to lose that. Okay. And sometimes, obviously, it's painful. Really, we know this. Okay. So be strong. Really be strong in your resolve. If you are somebody that has spiritual practices, really be disciplined in doing them. If you have a morning practice, if you meditate, if whatever it is you do. If you are a musician and that is your true joy, play more music, write more songs. That's what I'm getting at here. And I'm mentioning specifically spiritual practices and music because we're wanting to get ourselves into things that are making us shine. The true things that make us shine. Not the 9.5-hour workday at the office where really we'd rather actually blow the place up. Okay. So in this year as well, you might find that you have more responsibility. You can thank Saturn for that. Sorry, I have to giggle. But the beautiful thing that we're getting at here, and the whole point of this episode, is that you are now given the opportunity to really, really, really connect with your intuition. Connect with all those beautiful old wise parts of ourselves that the ancient people were so connected in. If they did not have those, if they were coming into our world today, they would be shocked, mortified, and horrified at how very disconnected we are from our spiritual sides. And I'm not going to give you any kind of you have to do spirituality like this. That's what's beautiful about spirituality. You do it according to what works for you, but just do it and find what works for you. If it's that you find you feel called to go back into the religion that you grew up in, do that. If you've been a practicing Buddhist for 17 years and suddenly you want to try something else, do that. Be open to that change, because now we have the opportunity to really connect into our intuition. And that's a very, very amazing place to be. And why is that happening? Because we're clearing out all the crap. You know, we all have the ability to be intuitive and to be psychic and to be all those beautiful things that often we put onto other. Wow, they're so lucky. We actually all have that. Yes, of course, some of us have placements that make us more open to that. But as human beings, we are always connected. Just like we are connected with our feet on the earth, we are connected to that beautiful divine that is all around us all the time. And even if you don't believe that, you will feel the things I'm talking about this year. I promise you, you will feel it. And so that's why I used music as an example, because for me, anyway, music is a highly spiritual experience. I mean, I cannot imagine my life without music. So if you are, for example, somebody who doesn't believe in any of this stuff, just play some music. That's got the same effect, I promise you. And I'm not joking. Do what works for you, but do it. Okay. Globally, we are feeling it as well, and this is why self-awareness becomes so important, and this is why spiritual practice becomes so important, because we can no longer afford to be reactive. We need to know our boundaries. We need to have them set in place so that immediately we can say, you know what, no, I'm not even going to react to this. I am walking the other way, because now I have a higher value for myself. And the beautiful thing about that is that's how collectively we are going to actually get to a point where we say, no, we are not going to war. No, you cannot do that. Even though you're in power, we the people actually have the say. Okay. Those are the themes that are coming into play. We've just had this beautiful lunar eclipse full moon as well in Cancer, which themes are all about nurturing and family and foundations and, you know, that spirituality and just general mothering and caring for each other and ourselves. And now here we are today with this beautiful transit coming into play. And we really have beautiful opportunities now. If you look back in history, please do go and look back at what was happening 38 years ago. Get a feel for what was going on in the world. And I promise you, you will see that there were big global things happening. Same as Uranus and Taurus, it is a globally affecting transit. Okay. Therefore, even if it doesn't affect us so much, perhaps we are highly enlightened. I don't use the word enlightened, highly self-aware people as it is, and we don't allow things to affect us so much, we will be affected because traditions are starting to crumble and new ones are coming into play. So they are better serving for us. I've said before in a previous episode, you know, we are now going to be doing things like revolting against banking institutions, which we know are really just messing us around and stealing our money. Makes me so angry. We are going to revolt against awful old men marrying young girls. Like, what the fuck is up with that? Please excuse my language, but it just makes my blood boil that we are still trapped in that kind of, you know, that we are hurting people like that. It's just not allowed anymore. It's not allowed. And that is where we're at, and that's where we're going to get as a collective. Looking after the earth, looking after the animals that we are, you know, I'm not a vegetarian, I'm not purporting for you to become one either, but the way the mass production and the way animals are being treated is unacceptable. We need to do something about that. We can't sit now and wait around for somebody to say something, or one day maybe that farmer will. No, now is the time to get up and be proactive in these themes. Okay. You cannot sit back anymore, please, 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 please. So, accept the changes coming your way. Be open to inspiration coming your way. Be as disciplined as you can. For example, I'm not the most disciplined person, but I am learning the value of what discipline is going to do for me personally, as well as in my business, as well as in my self-awareness exercises. I have to be disciplined to be able to catch myself wanting to react, or wanting to maybe lose my temper, or wanting to walk away from something before I finished it. Now we're pushing our boundaries. Now we're pushing our comfort zones. There's no more turning back from that. So get in touch with your heart, really. That's really the most important thing. And that's what I'm going to leave with you, or leave you with, is the quicker that you can get in touch with your intuition, and the quicker you can be as truthful and as in all areas as possible, the better for you. It's not always going to be easy. You know, to have to go and tell your spouse that you're leaving is horrendously difficult. You know, to have to walk out of a job because you just can't anymore is not easy, but do it. Obviously, don't do it if you don't have another job, please. But do it. Give yourself that gift. Give yourself the gift of having the life now that you want, that you've always dreamed of. And if you don't know what that life looks like, be open to that now. We don't have to settle for anything less than being the best people we could possibly be. I promise you, it is so liberating to wake up in the morning and just be 100% who you are. And it sounds so obvious, but the majority of people in the world are not doing that because we were never told that that was what we could do. Now the universe is saying, well, you don't have a choice anymore. Okay. And also, just something else I want to leave with you, Jupiter is also in Capricorn. So it is really not all doom and gloom. It is the beginning of something new for us as humanity, for us as individuals. And Jupiter is there with this beautiful blessing that it wants to bestow on us all the time. And Saturn is saying, work your plan, babe. Work your plan and I'm going to reward you. Okay. So, all the best for 2020. It really is going to be a phenomenal year. It's going to be a year unlike we have ever seen. And be open to that. Okay. I'm always here if you need to know how this is going to affect you personally, if you'd like to have your life map done, if you'd like to do any of my packages, obviously, please contact me for that. But you're not alone in this. We truly are all in this together. And that is how we are going to get through it. And I will see you next week. And thank you so much for tuning in.